How would you describe the state of America right now? Is it with words like damage and division?
Black, white, Republican, Democrat, we're all part of this one community.
Or do you feel it should be described in a more optimistic tone?
Is that I believe that there's something better for us.
We're laying out where many issues stand in a nation set to show the power of its population on Tuesday. This is The Race. Welcome to The Race. I'm Chris Stewart. It may feel like you've been through a lot this year to get to this point. Election Day is on Tuesday, but here in Talent, Oregon, what many people have been through to get to this point of 2020, it's difficult to put into words. To truly understand a disaster's mark,
El fuego, como dije, agarró con todos.
step through its remains with those whose lives it's ripped apart.
Tú eres tan blanco, tú eres latino, porque tú eres de lo que sea, eso no importa.
These were the final views from Gladys Garcia's home in September as a wildfire took over her small town of Phoenix, Oregon. Today, as she stands by what was her doorstep,
El fuego no miró diferencias, el fuego acabó.
The fire didn't see a difference.
Virginia Camberos is by her side.
I would be lying if I say, oh, well, you know, I'm doing all right.
The flames closed in on Virginia's home, but it survived. For many in the Latino community that she advocates for, they lost everything.
The way that I find my strength is that I believe that, you know, there's something better for us.
While strength can take time,
How are we going to get, you know, the ballots?
Election Day here waits for no one.
How are we going to get, you know, the homes are, I mean, you see all this destruction and devastation.
Oregon mailed ballots to addresses as cleanup continued, creating potential challenges for those now without homes or mailboxes, like Erica Bushio. She's surrounded by the metal that was her home of 13 years.
Pero para mí valía mucho.
The fire has taken so much, but not her right as an American citizen to vote.
De hoy en adelante voy a votar.
I'm going to vote until God gives me life and strength to do so, she tells me. She had her ballot sent to a temporary address, which is legal in Oregon, a process helping many voters who are unsure of where they'll live next. For Virginia, through the flames is focus on making sure this area's large Latino population is heard.
I mean, you have to understand that this is the first time in their lives that they're going to vote.
She's posted voter information flyers across the area in both English and Spanish.
It's important to connect with my community and say, you know what? We're fighting for our lives right now. We need to make change.
Change is a word on the minds of many here.
Yo, personalmente, yo creo en el cambio climático.
Ramon de la Cruz tells me what happened to his house of 16 years furthers his belief in climate change. His story
Pues fue muy difícil ver todo esto ya.
is of the kind of loss now all too common across the West. But amidst this rubble and pain is hope that some of the worst wildfires in U.S. history won't stop Americans here from using their power to write the next chapter.
These are issues that are going to affect you, or maybe not even you, but maybe your children or the next generation.
Healthcare is the second most important issue this year, according to Pew Research. Alexa Liaco is with a family wondering how this election will impact their medical costs.
At a quick glance through her office, you might think Laura Packard was working on the campaign trail.
That vote was in July, so that was a couple months later.
But this small business owner is fighting to keep her own title, cancer survivor.
A little over 3 years ago, I walked into a doctor's office with a nagging cough and walked out with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. And everything changed for me all at once.
Between chemo
I lost all my hair.
Radiation,
Some days I wouldn't be able to get out of bed.
surgeries, and 2 hospitalizations.
It was 6 months of misery.
The bills piled up.
I think it was near $1 million.
She says thankfully her insurance through the Affordable Care Act saved her in more ways than one.
I've been self-employed off and on for over a decade. I used to have junk insurance, and if I still had that insurance today, I would be bankrupt or dead.
But she's worried this level of insurance coverage won't last.
The day after my first chemotherapy was when Republicans in the House voted to dismantle the Affordable Care Act, which was keeping me alive.
As talks of repealing the ACA gained ground, Laura moved hundreds of miles away from family to live in Colorado.
Because Colorado has pretty good state-level protections, but nobody should have to live like this. Nobody should have to be a healthcare refugee in their own country just to get care.
Laura is now terrified the federal healthcare laws she sees as helpful could be changed or removed with the presidential election and new Supreme Court justice.
My life is in the balance, but millions of Americans are in the balance too.
Laura is worried those with pre-existing conditions will not get the care they need at a price they can afford, but she's also worried the individual mandate for health insurance will be taken away. With fewer healthy people paying into the healthcare system, the system cannot help cover costs for people who are sick.
When you take away that piece, my fear is that the rest of the Affordable Care Act will crumble because we won't be able to sort of sustain or afford it in its totality.
Michelle Leake is the president of the Colorado Health Institute. Her organization has been looking at the future of American healthcare, a future she says is unclear.
At issue, I think, and we see this play out over and over again, is your belief in whether or not healthcare is a right.
Leake hopes whatever plan the nation moves forward with will make sure the families living paycheck to paycheck won't be forgotten.
I don't even know how many people will die if they succeed in destroying the Affordable Care Act.
Struggle is something all Americans have endured this year. This cancer survivor is just hoping the election will bring a confirmation that her health is valued.
In a pandemic, it's more clear than ever that we're all in this together, and we need candidates and elected officials that work for the greater good.
And for a better future, Laura hopes she will live to see. For The Race, I'm Alexa Liacco.
From preschool all the way to college, this pandemic has forced some unconventional approaches to education. Ashley Sampson's taking a look at what the journey to normalcy looks like.
How's it going?
Walking down the halls of Mount Jordan Middle School in Sandy, Utah.
How was your birthday?
Dr. Matt Watts is everything you'd expect a junior high school principal to be. A bit lighthearted.
You're TikTok famous.
But always thinking of the well-being of his students.
Whoa, guys, careful.
This year, the safety of students all over the country looks different than past school years.
If you walk around the school, you'll see we've got arrows, we've got signs up.
And of course, a mandatory school staple, masks.
That's probably one of the biggest things that I was worried about, but the kids have done a fantastic job.
This school is one of the few schools in the country operating on a normal schedule, 5 days a week for in-person learning. But it comes with its challenges.
One of the challenging things has been for teachers to find the balance of the physical distancing with still taking care of the kids' social emotional needs.
So eyes up front in 3, 2.
Teachers like Lindsay Maxfield are being tasked with the delicate balance of keeping their kids on track educationally while being sensitive to the uncertainty of it all.
They've been able to have a lot of really good discussions, which at the beginning of the year with their masks, they were a lot quieter. And so helping them get more comfortable speaking out with their masks, that's been a really cool thing to see. Can you say it one more time? I couldn't quite hear you.
Maxfield knows that at any moment, the teaching model could change and move to an online curriculum.
I didn't think through all the different online tech issues that sometimes you need to teach the students, because sometimes we assume that they know how to do everything because we refer to them as being so techy.
And as the temperatures start to drop, the possibility of more cases hangs in the air.
Where it's getting cold, we're trying to rethink, okay, what's the cafeteria going to look like?
Kelsey, you're going to be one of our sanitizers.
For now, this school is beating the odds with very few cases of COVID-19.
When we have had to send some kids home, that gets tough because they want to be here.
In Sandy, Utah, I'm Ashley Sampson reporting.
More to come. Stick with us.